Coach, what's kind of impressed you about how the linebacker room has grown throughout the year?
Yeah, just a commitment to improve, right? Steady progress, consistency, executing at a high level, the unity. And obviously, Max has done a great job of just, keeping them all healthy and getting to this point. So now with Kingston being out for a little bit of time here, now Preston's going to have that opportunity. The last 2 games were meaningful reps for Preston, so he came through for us. So again, we don't really flinch on this defense. Like whoever's up next, man, you know it. It's time for you to go, and that's how we feel about Preston moving forward here.
And then outside of the space component, what are a couple of challenges of Lincoln Riley's offense?
The space, vertical space, horizontal space, tackling, elite athletes in space. He's just an excellent play caller, right? At the end of the day, there's not a lot of trails by the way he does things. And, they could be in 10 on first down and go to 12 on second down and go to 11 on third down. And then there's a lot of different formation structure within each of those. So he just does an excellent job. I have the utmost respect for him and the organization and how they do it. And obviously it's great to be a part of this rivalry.
Coach, I know you don't like to look into the past, go back and look into the past too much, but Coach Freeman talked about today the pain of 2 years ago losing to USC. I'm curious, do you still feel that pain? Or do you?
Yep. I felt it that day. That was about as disappointed as I've ever been as a coach, and I didn't do a very good job to getting the guys ready to play that day. And obviously we've moved forward, but at the end of the day, we just that cannot. We have to do a better job preparing and getting the kids ready to play.
And I guess I'm curious, what's the difference this time around? How have you approached this week differently than you did 2 years ago?
Yeah, I just think we're in a different space on defense. We're more malleable. We had Florida State, then UVA, then Army. Each one of those required different tactics, and I think the same thing here. We're able to move in and out of some things that we worked on, in preseason camp or in spring ball or things that we did in the bye week, whatever the case may be. So. That's going to be a great challenge because, they, like I said, they have the talent. They spread the field. The running backs are excellent. So it's going to be a great challenge for us.
Are they about as good of a 6-5 team as you can have?
Yeah, I don't comment on anybody's record. I just look at the personnel. And again, everybody has their own issues, and why things transpire the way they do. Obviously, you could have asked us the same question after week 2. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, utmost respect first, for the rivalry, right? And then second for Coach Riley and his staff. And then thirdly, for what I'm seeing on tape, like I said, the running backs, the wideouts, tight ends, they're as good as anybody we've seen. And they know it. And our kids had a good start today, getting back into it. And we just got to stay focused and have a great week.
One more, if we have one.
Make it good.
How have you been able to? Have you had to kind of amp these guys up for this game, or is it kind of
no
already?
Nope. I don't think. Again, there's nothing that needs to be said. If you're watching Godfather 2 and Hyman Roth's talking to Michael Corleone, what's on in the background, right? It's Notre Dame, USC, and that's all we got to say. I mean, that's it at the end of the day. All right, so it's a great opportunity for us, and we're blessed to be a part of it, and our job is to honor that.
Go ahead, Coach Denbrock. Do you have a similar, comparison like Godfather?
I don't think I could come up with one better than that one. So maybe I'll just kind of hitch a ride along with that one. That was really well done.
What allowed the offensive line to kind of rebound and take a step forward this week or last week?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked to him a lot last week about let's focus in on the fundamentals, number one. I think number two, our communication last week were really, really important that we were on the same page. A lot of movement, a lot of stunning up front that they do defensively. So we really had to kind of lock in, communicate, and then we talked to them a lot last week about, listen, let's get our feet across the line of scrimmage, and if we do that, we're going to be in pretty good shape, and they did an incredible job of that.
You've coached in this game quite a few times. I guess, do you have any fond memories of the matchup with USC?
I've got some fond memories. I've got some bad memories too. So I'm hoping to add to the fond memories this weekend by playing some good, solid football. This is a classic rivalry and one that, I think most of the people in the country have grown up watching in one way or another, whether they're personally invested or not. It's one of those games that always catches your eye. And USC, obviously, a very talented football team. We're going to have to be at our best on Saturday. And it's just fun to play in these games, obviously, for a lot of different reasons, but more than anything because it's our next opportunity to really go improve.
What makes winning there so hard?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. You can point to the travel and the time difference and all those kind of. They're really good. They're really good at home, as a lot of football teams are, and they're very, very capable of playing championship level football. And so we've got to meet that challenge and be ready to go.
They're really good against the run. What type of challenge does that bring for your offense, which obviously has been really excelling in that department as of late?
Yeah, I think it's, we got to block them. That's really the bottom line in the run game. If you move their bodies with yours, you've got an opportunity to get some softness in the defense and create some space. And we've obviously got some really talented running backs that can take advantage of that. But the game's going to be won or lost along the line of scrimmage, like it is almost every week that we play. And we're going to have to do a great job of moving those guys around.
Coach Freeman kind of talked about this earlier, but the offensive line, where you were at the beginning of the season, losing Charles, having Anthonie Knapp step in as a freshman, I guess what was the key to being where you are right now as an offensive line, even with some young, inexperienced guys at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I think it starts with having depth and talented players there through the recruiting process, and we certainly have that. What we didn't have was a lot of experience. So I think as they've grown together, as they've taken some lumps along the way, they've learned, they've grown, they communicate better, they understand different things and different looks that they've seen. They aren't new to them anymore, and they're able to play a lot more aggressive, and that's what we're going to have to do.
One more if we got.
Emil, it's a name we don't necessarily hear a lot, and that's a good thing. How has he sort of stepped up and really solidified that right side, and really where has he grown the most this year? Yeah,
he's been an incredible rock on the front side, on the right side of our offensive line. He's a very detailed young man. He has a great understanding and feel for the game of football. It's been nice to have, even though maybe he hasn't, played as much football as everybody. He has brought a calmness to that group, and with the steady play that he's had, and his ability to kind of bring some other people around him along with him.
Happy Thanksgiving before I forget.
Coach, where are you guys at with field goal and just kind of solidifying that area after obviously struggles last week?
Yeah, I think from a confidence standpoint, we have a lot of confidence in where Mitch is. I think over the last 3 weeks, this was by far the best, most pure ball he had hit consistently. We tried to track that even from watching, every extra point to see where the ball was hitting, up on the net and everything. And he felt really good. So I just think it was, he just slightly missed it. We can't have any false starts, anything to cost us penalty yards, and then just got to clean up a couple technique issues on the protection.
Where's his confidence at? Because he's not a guy that's used to missing kicks.
Yeah, I think it's really good. It's actually really high, just because of even when warming up, he was able to come over and tell me his line of where he felt, especially this game. It wasn't something that we felt like we had to kind of sort through and discuss. He was able to say, this is where I feel like I'm good from. And so that gave me a lot of confidence. And then again, seeing not just his warm-ups, but even the extra points, there was a big difference in pop off the ball.
Do you have to spend a little bit more time on punt and kickoff coverage this week with a guy like Zachariah Branch back there? And what's the key to not letting him make explosive plays?
Yeah, I mean they are explosive on special teams. Again, I think they have the number 1 net punt now in the country, so that'll be big. And then we know what Zachariah can do in the punt return game. It looks like Makai has been the number 6, has been their kick returner. He had a huge explosive kick return this past game versus UCLA. So I mean they got speed, they have weapons, they do a great job blocking. For those guys, they see that as a weapon, so it'll be a big challenge for us. And we have to eliminate any explosive plays.
From an atmosphere standpoint at USC, your unit takes the field first. How do you get them prepared for that atmosphere walking into that stadium?
Yeah, we try and really just focus on what we can control, and after once we know if we're kickoff or kickoff return, we try and get everybody in the huddle, and once we make the call, we try and block out any noise.
Simply, what does this rivalry mean to you? I know, if I'm not mistaken, you said you kind of grew up watching Notre Dame and kind of admiring it. So I guess really, what does this rivalry mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big game. It's definitely something that's really special. But I think at the end, it's really about the players, and any of the history is just history. And so what it comes down to is, can we execute one play at a time?
What makes Bryce Young a special teams coach's dream?
He skill set, and his genetics and everything from that standpoint. But special player just in everything, the way he carries himself, the way he prepares, how detailed he is. And he's always one that, you don't see it sometimes from a freshman, but even when you're doing something, even, repping a punt block or a kickoff, he'll, Coach, can I get another rep or can I do it again? So he really takes pride in wanting to get it right, and you see the results pay off.
Jaiden, what has this year been like taking on a bigger role, and then how are you a different player from week 1 till now?
Yeah, I would say, from last year to this year, it's been a way bigger role. I've seen, increased playing time. I say from week 1 to now, just my preparation, how it's becoming second nature to me in the game, my keys, the way I'm preparing before the games on Fridays and then on Saturday morning. I say all of that has just gotten better week after week. And it's starting to just become second nature to me, so I don't even got to think about it. It just happens routinely now. So.
And then is it a challenge for you as a linebacker to kind of go from triple option back to like a normal style of offense?
I wouldn't say it's a challenge because, I would say playing the normal style is kind of, second nature to me now. So once we get back into it, it's like, all right, like I got the rhythm of it. But, definitely going from a normal offense to triple option, that takes a little bit more work. So.
Jaiden, Freeman talked about being violent in that game against Army. It seemed like you took heed to that early on. I guess, how do you really portray the violence out on the field, control violence, right?
Yeah, really just taking the message from our coaches, and then applying it on the field. But one of our main goals this week was just to hit the quarterback, so we knew how much they were going to run it with him. He was their go-to guy, so we just had to punish him early. So
Freeman also talked about Jack Kaiser being a leader, but challenging him to be more teacher with a young linebacker. Or what are some examples of how he became a leader by being a teacher versus a leader?
Yeah, honestly, I think he's been doing a great job really since I got here last year, but even now this year that J.D. and Maris left, he's taking that role. And I think he's been doing a tremendous job with me as well as the other linebackers, just teaching us the game, showing us little keys and even like the small details that can change the impact of the play in a big way. So I think he's been doing a real good job of that.
Where's your confidence at? Obviously, we talk about you being a better player, but as you see that success throughout the year, how does that help build your confidence, and then how much does that make you even better seeing that success? It
really just comes through all my preparation and, seeing me grow throughout the year and throughout the season, throughout the games. It makes me, really proud of my preparation, but, there's always room for improvement, so I just got to get better week after week. So.
What makes USC's offense a challenge for you guys?
They have a really good running back. They run a lot of 10 personnel, so we're going to have to be able to move in space. We're going to have to bring our feet in tackles because they got some bigger guys too. So
you guys are having so much success on defense. What makes it fun to play in this defense? What are some of the things that just are exciting?
Yeah, I think our coaches just, they always give us great messages. They always hype us up. And they let us play loose. They give us a game plan. They coach us up. And then, around Friday, Saturday, it's just like, trust your preparation and let your second nature take over, and we just out there and ball. So,
what's your excitement level just playing a game like like this, obviously, big rivalry game, a lot of history. What's the excitement level and a lot on the line in this one?
Yeah, it's a big game. It's a rivalry game, but after we've been saying every game after NIU is our Super Bowl because you never know which one's going to be guaranteed. So this is a big game, so we're going to have to prepare just as hard as we prepared for every other game this year. So.
Junior, you have some USC ties, obviously, but what does this game mean, just going back home and playing USC mean to you?
It means a lot, especially just playing an environment with having a lot of family members out there, but also just growing up around a lot of people that love USC, especially my family. But yeah, definitely, we don't like those guys over there, so yeah.
And then from the outside, it seems like you've kind of come into your own the last month or so. I guess when did you start to really feel comfortable at the end position, whether it was the spring or this fall?
Yeah, I'd say it all came together during fall camp. Seemingly from last year, it was a new position and everything. Kind of times where I kind of held back from some moments where it's a little too uncomfortable, but as time went on, I felt more comfortable as playing against the O-line that we have. So yeah.
What makes USC's offense a challenge?
I just say Lincoln Riley. He brings a game plan where a lot of defense have problems with also having threats on the receiver group. Also having the type of O-line they have right now. Obviously they're not a bad team. They've been close games. They just had trouble with finishing. But at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we come in the mindset that we can't let them get anything. So.
Why don't you like those guys over there, and how does your family feel about that?
Obviously it's a rivalry. I'd say ever since I came here, it's been ingrained with me. Obviously growing up out in California, obviously I could be like a fan of USC and Stanford, but coming here, I understanding the rivalry and everything. The past 2 years playing them, there's only been times where I can't like them. So there's yeah.
I know you have a couple high school teammates on their team. Do you guys text this week or just kind of?
Nah, I can't text them. My boy Miller Moss, obviously he's not playing right now, but Jalen Smith, that boy can play for sure on the defensive side of the ball. Since high school, we've always been boys, but right now this week, we're not.
Coach Freeman said he hasn't forgotten the pain of the game 2 years ago. What are your memories of that one?
I'd say that, man, just letting Caleb Williams run around like that, we just got to keep that pain. The fact that he was able to make plays like that against us, we just can't let that happen on Saturday with anybody in general. So yeah.
But what's it mean to you to go back home and just play USC, but also in a game this big?
Yeah, it means a lot. I've been looking forward to playing in the stadium since I was a child. Started playing football and things like that, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to play. But now that I'm here at Notre Dame, greatest university, we get to go coast to coast, basically, back-to-back weeks, and it means a whole lot for sure.
Is that among the reasons that you say, hey, I want to go to Notre Dame because I get that opportunity?
Yeah, most definitely. The exposure we have here at Notre Dame is really second to none, whether that's playing on NBC almost every week, all the viewers, and just being able to travel and things like that. It's good experience for the next level as well.
Coach Freeman said he doesn't care if people weren't here 2 years ago. He's going to make sure they know about the pain of 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Has that started already for you guys that weren't here?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Walking in the locker room, they have the game from, I believe, 2 years ago when Notre Dame lost, all on the TVs, all around the locker room, things like that. I've already been watching, all the plays. I almost have them memorized and things like that. But he does a good job, and just in the team meetings, he does a good job of explaining like what that feeling was like a couple of years ago, and not letting us forget how big of a game this is.
As an offense, you guys have conversations that you had conversations with players that did play in that game, or at least were on the team at that time, to kind of get it from a player's perspective rather than Freeman's?
Yeah, most definitely. I talked to guys like Deion Cozy. He had some big plays last time they were out there, and he was just letting me know like what type of game it's going to be, physicality, where there's trash talking, things like that in the game. Just letting us know like how big of a rivalry this is.
I know you haven't played there. Have you been to this? You've been to this?
Oh yeah, plenty of times. I had season tickets to Rams games when they first came back to LA, a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, I kind of like grew up in that stadium a little bit.
And so is this kind of a full circle moment, and how much would it mean, because you can write your destiny at the same time?
Most definitely. It means a lot. I was a huge Reggie Bush fan growing up, and just being able to play in a stadium that he, ran for years and things like that. Watching games on TV, Indy, USC games when I was younger, I don't even know how to explain it for real. It's crazy for sure.
Well, as a leader on this team, is it hard to sort of keep their sights set on this week and not kind of look past what this team's potential is in the postseason?
I feel like we've done a good job just ever since the NIU loss of keeping our heads down and kind of taking it day by day. We have meetings and things like that in the mornings. We just start from there. What am I learning in this meeting? What can I take notes on? Things like that. And then when we get to practice, just do the same things over and over. And I feel like we've done a good job of, just kind of keeping that mentality. And this week is no different than last week, to us at least. I know the leaders on this team are doing a good job of making sure the young guys have that same mentality.
Riley, Coach Freeman was talking about the pain in this game 2 years ago, and he said he doesn't care if people weren't here. He's going to make sure they know. How have you gotten to know the pain that this team experienced 2 years ago out there?
Yeah, he's been showing it in our facility since yesterday, and I've kind of seen some plays here and there. And then in our captain's meeting today with Coach Free, they share some stories of the game and how they felt after that. And obviously, I kind of know how they feel. I've been through a loss with this program, so try to keep that pain, and I know they're trying to this year and going into this game. So I think it should give us a little chip on our shoulder.
Can you describe the energy and maybe the tone of Freeman when he's expressing the pain from 2 years ago? How would you describe that?
Yeah. It's very similar to kind of after NIU. It's more of like a motivation, and like when he brings something up in the past, like he does it for a purpose and for a reason. So like when he brings that up, like he uses specific details, and he shares vulnerability on himself first. Like he said, like he wanted to ignore watching a 4th and 1 that happened, but he like forced himself to do it and forced himself to remember exactly how he felt in that moment. And I've been in rivalry games. I lost to UNC a couple times, so yeah, it sucks, and I know how it feels. So
being that you guys can write your own script right about now in that game, you finally in this moment. How far ahead do you look? Do you look past Monday or Tuesday, or are you kind of just focusing on Saturday?
Yeah, it's going to be the cliche answer, of course, but like obviously none of us really look past Saturday because nobody knows what it looks like anyway. So what's the point of worrying about something? Like you see these brackets and stuff that people make, but like the bracket that was out Friday is completely different. What are we talking about? Like it's going to change. So yeah, it's just like any other game for us.
As far as the offense goes, I asked Freeman about this earlier, but your offensive line, they were young and experienced early on. To get to this point now, where they are, how do you feel about the progress that you guys have made?
Yeah, outstanding. These guys are absolutely incredible. The best way I can describe it is every single game I go into now, I don't even think twice about the opponent's D-line and maybe the left side stronger than the right side, and do I have to have a clock in my head? Like I don't think about any of that. I can just go out there and play freely and play my game. And it's sometimes I think I take that for granted, just to be able to sit in the pocket and just have confidence in these guys that they're going to do their job. And then obviously in the run game, they're as dominant as ever. So they take a lot of pressure off my plate.
Was there a point in the year where you did have to have that clock in your head?
I don't know. I think I maybe created it myself. There was never a time where I ever felt rust this year, but maybe going into early in the season, I only took very little snaps with these guys and with the whole offense and the whole team in general. There are so many things that I don't even have to worry about at this point into the season because everybody's proven themselves to this point.
Jordan ran a heck of a route on that touchdown. What does a healthy Jordan Faison bring to the offense?
Yeah, he's dynamic. He's a guy that we can put at any position, and he's just going to be able to run, any route in the book, and that frees us up a lot. Frees our guys' legs up a lot. If you got Chris Mitchell running a deep go, he can fill that spot, or if Jaden Greathouse is hurt or whatever it may be, he can fill that spot. So he's a dynamic player, and we just need to get him the ball in as many different situations as possible.
Kind of going along with that, how much kind of easier is it to have so many different options? We've kind of seen it throughout the last few games. It's like guys aren't getting 4 receptions, but they're spread out. Each guy's getting 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I think it's first and foremost to credit like their maturity and their unselfishness as a group. Like they're celebrating like they won the Super Bowl whenever their teammate makes a catch, and that says a lot about not only their receiving room, but like the culture we have at Notre Dame. And Coach always says team glory, but we've kind of embraced that, and it's kind of ingrained in our brains at this point. And then they're just such a diverse group that anybody, like I say Faison, but like really anybody can go fill in anybody's shoes. So pre-snap, I think there have been times in my previous career, whether it be high school or college, to where I have to think like, all right, this guy's really good at running this route. Might have to hold on and take a chance here. I don't even think about who's running what route because they're all going to be at the right spot at the right time. So it frees me up a lot.
Anthony, where's your game kind of grown the most since game 1?
I'd say probably run blocking. I think that was probably my biggest thing. Body weight coming in, obviously still right now is a little light, and not going against these guys who are a lot bigger than me. It's important to get a lot of technique, and something I've worked on going against Riley Mills and all these Beast and Howard Cross and all these guys has definitely helped me perfect for Saturdays. And obviously I still got a long way to go, but I'd say it's something I could take a lot of pride in and be able to do consistently. So.
And then what's just the key of setting a physical tone every week for you guys?
As an offensive line, I'd say is just kind of knowing that 5 is 1 is what we all say. And I think it's really hard to be physical when you're just playing for yourself. And I think it's a lot easier to be physical when you're playing for the guy next to you. And I think that's something we take a lot of pride in as an offensive line room is, if you love the guy next to you, you're going to do a lot more than you'd rather do it for yourself, if that makes sense, because you don't want anything to happen to him, So it's just kind of like the same, like Coach Freeman uses the analogy like for his family. Like you do a lot of things when, for your family because you love your family. So that's kind of the culture we try to build and kind of the culture we have, and it just kind of brings that physicality out for each other. So
when you're in the trenches and all of a sudden you look up and there goes Jeremiah Love, there goes Jadarian Price, and even Saturday there goes Aeneas Williams. What's that feeling like when you get that reward?
It's probably the best feeling ever. I mean, I'd say because you spend all practice, a lot of going through a lot of mess ups, and a lot of corrections during the whole week, trying to perfect things, and that's what you're aiming for is trying to having that set away where you block the way you want to. That means everyone's on the same page, everyone's doing their job, and everyone did it correctly because you see them go. And I could say if you look on film a couple times, you can see the whole line go going crazy because it's. We worked for that, and that's what we want to see. That was our goal. We want to see them succeed because that means we succeeded, and we got to share that glory together. So I'd say it's probably the best feeling an offensive lineman could have.
Do you take pride in being a freshman in this freshman class, whether it's Bryce or you or anybody else just kind of stepping up in the face of injuries and where this team's been?
I guess you could say pride is probably a good way to take it, but I'd say there's more pride in just kind of having a culture around us that supports us no matter what the age is. It's being able to sit back and kind of, hey, these guys got my back, whether it's Coach Freeman, whether it's a GA, whether it's a scout player, no matter who it is, Notre Dame does a good job of, they're going to support you. And I think having I take a lot of pride in saying, hey, these are my guys, and, I can fall back on these guys. I don't know what you got, but I'll take these guys over your guys any day, so.